Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Waj. Hope you guys are all doing well. So the new iPhone 7 just got announced moments ago. We're going to take a look at the overall feature sets and specifications of the brand new smartphone device that is very highly anticipated, and of course do a comparison between probably one of the most popular Android smartphones out there, the Samsung Galaxy S7. So if you guys are interested in seeing what the new iPhone 7 has to offer and see how it compares against the S7, it's a perfect video for you, so let's get right into it. Now, firstly, we're going to talk about the overall design changes made to the iPhone 7. It actually looks very similar to the 6 and 6S, relatively speaking. You still have an aluminum unibody construction. All the curves are nicely rounded, so it's going to be fairly comfortable in the hand. And when it comes to colors, you have two new color additions. One is a simply black, matte black kind of finish, and another one is the jet black, which is a glossy black finish. Could be really interesting for those you guys out there that want a darker iPhone. Of course, you can still get the iPhone in the standard color scheme of silver, gold, and rose gold. Now, dimensionally speaking, the iPhone 7 is going to be smaller, thinner, as well as lighter than the Samsung counterpart, measuring about 7.1 millimeters in terms of overall thickness versus 7.9 millimeters, and 138 grams versus 152 grams respectively. Now, another new feature on the iPhone 7 is dust and water resistance, specifically with an IP67 certification. The S7 is rated for IP68, which is good for another half meter deeper in terms of water resistance, but there's not really a big difference between the two in terms of overall durability. You do have a Gorilla Glass 4 technology on the front and back of the Samsung versus the iPhone is using ion strengthening glass at the front of the device. Now, although both devices come equipped with a fingerprint scanner, the Samsung definitely has more scanners built into the device, including a heart rate monitor that optically senses your blood oxygen levels as well. Now, the home button on the iPhone 7 is not actually a physical button anymore. It's not using the mechanical switch that you find in older generation iPhones. You now have a force sensitive home button, which is pretty much using the same technology as the new trackpads on the MacBooks. So it'll give you active haptic feedback without any kind of mechanical button engagement system, which is going to be interesting. And if you do like the new trackpads on the MacBooks, you'll have pretty much a very similar experience using the home button over here. Now, probably one of the most dramatic changes onto the new iPhone, which definitely will piss off some people, is that you do not have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack anymore. You're going to be forced to use a lightning adapter, which comes thankfully included inside each of the new iPhone 7s, or use headphones with a built-in lightning connectivity, which also comes with the iPhones. And obviously there's going to be a whole line of different accessories and headphones specializing in the lightning connectivity. On the plus side, you do have stereo front-facing speakers on the new iPhones, which will definitely give you higher overall volume than the older generation iPhones, as well as better fidelity. And in most cases, it's going to probably even sound better than the speakers that come with the S7, which are downwards facing. Now, moving on, let's talk about the displays on both these two devices. Probably one of the most disappointing things about the new iPhone 7 is that you don't really have a major upgrade in terms of display technology and size. It's still 4.7-inch IPS LED backlit with 3D touch integration. There are some minor changes in terms of overall brightness and color gamut compared to the older generation smartphone display, but you still have the same native resolution and the same PPI count of about 326, which is looking quite dated to the Quad HD resolution we have on the S7, as well as with that Super AMOLED display. It's going to give you some of the best color reproduction and black levels on any smartphone. And because it has a feature called Always On, using the organic LED technology, it'll give you simple information about time and basic notifications on the display even when you're not using it, which is definitely a cool thing, something that the iPhones can't do if they want to save their battery life. Now, under the hoods of these smartphones comes a brand new processors on the iPhone 7 side. So it's using the new Apple A10 Fusion chip, which is for the first time a true quad-core processor that's done a little bit differently than traditional smartphone quad-core processors. It's basically a 64-bit architecture, and 2 cores are designed for performance, and the other 2 cores are designed for high efficiency, so they can can run at 1/5 the power. So if you're just browsing the web or checking email, simple things that don't require a lot of processing horsepower, they can actually employ those efficiency cores and turn off or throttle down the performance cores, giving you better overall efficiency, battery life, etc. Now, the Samsung S7 comes in a couple of different varieties, either the Snapdragon 820 chip or the Exynos octa-core chip, which is, I believe, the 8890. And RAM, you have 4 gigabytes of RAM on the S7 versus the iPhone. We're not 100% sure, but it might be around 2 to 3 gigabytes. We're not exactly sure at this point. And the GPU on the A10 Fusion chip is about 50% faster than the A9. And when it comes to the memory variety, you have 32, 128, and 256 gigabyte models on the iPhone. And on the S7 side, it comes in either 32 or 64 gigabyte models with the option to expand your internal memory via a micro SD expansion slot, and you can go up to 256 gigabytes if you like. Now, of course, when we get our hands on the iPhone 7, we're definitely going to be doing some performance tests and benchmarks to see how it stacks up against the internal performance on the Samsung Galaxy S7. So make sure you're subscribed for those upcoming performance test videos. Now, moving on, probably one of the most important things about any contemporary smartphone is the camera performance. And we do have basically a very similar camera technology on both fronts. 12 megapixel sensors. The lens on the S7 is a little bit larger, f1.7 versus f1.8. Not a huge margin there. Optical stabilization as well as phase detection autofocuses on both those sensors. The iPhone 7 has also quad dual tone flash. Now, the real big upgrades come with the iPhone 7 Plus, which actually has dual cameras. We'll talk about that in that specific videos, but a big upgrade over here is definitely the front-facing camera, which is highly deserved on the new iPhone. Basically 7 megapixels with f2.2 lens, and that's actually higher resolution than the Samsung for the first time, and you can also do 1080p at 30 FPS video on both front-facing cameras as well. When it comes to video performance, both can shoot 4K at 30 FPS as well as 1080p at 60 FPS and slow motion at 720p. Beyond that, the iPhone has a new image processing chip which will basically speed up the process of your autofocusing, give you more accurate color reproduction as well as white balance, and also do some noise reduction processing as well. We'll have to see what the camera performance is like when it comes to low light and video quality and sharpness compared to the Samsung camera once we get our hands on both devices at the same time. So again, stay tuned for a camera comparison upcoming very, very soon. Now, when it comes to battery life, the iPhone 7 will roughly have 2 more hours than the iPhone 6s. We don't have a specific capacity, so we can't compare the capacity to the 3000 milliamp hour battery we have on the S7, but we can definitely confirm that it doesn't have wireless charging or official fast charging capabilities, although I'm sure you can charge the iPhone a little bit quicker using a 2 amp charger that usually comes with your iPad, but there's no official fast charging capabilities or wireless charging capabilities, unfortunately, on these iPhones at this point. Of course, like everything else, we're going to definitely be putting these two devices head to head in our dedicated battery test comparison. So we'll definitely determine which one comes out on top in terms of overall battery performance with that video. But really, on that, guys, that's really it. Now, we also will have a specification comparison between the iPhone 7 Plus, which has a couple of additional features beyond the standard iPhone 7, and we're going to do a comparison between the Note 7, which seems fairly logical. So check out that video. You'll find either a card up top of the video, or you can always check out the description down below. Give us a thumbs up if you like this video, and thank you again for watching. We'll see you later. Take care.